9.35 ounces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can make this double boiler of sorts work to melt it down and get it ready. I feel like if I can melt it down in the container that I'm going to be using, I will get the most out of it. I won't be having any residue left in like a crock pot or anything. So I'm just going to break it up into pieces and start it in here. Here are all the herbs that were left over. I might pull out any stemmy things that I find, but otherwise I'm going to leave that all in there. And then we will move outdoors for the lye portion. While waiting for this to liquefy, I am going to measure out my water that I'm going to need to make this the lye solution. So the ratio of fat that I'm using, I need 3.55 ounces of water. I think this is going to be a relatively small batch of soap, but because I want it to be a pure tallow soap and not, I didn't want to mix it with any other oils. In the future I would maybe do that just to make a larger batch. Okay, so this is the water that we'll be using. I'll move outdoors for that portion though, but I'm going to wait till this melts down. Hopefully this idea works. All right, so the tallow has melted inside, so I came outside now to measure the lye and add it to the water. Never have made soap before, but I do know that you have to add the lye to the water, not the other way around, and you're gonna want some simple safety equipment, gloves and glasses. For the amount of tallow that I have, I need 1.22 ounces of lye. So this mixture is going to get hot, and we're going to need to let it cool out here. You can see that it is steaming. Because it is a winter day, I don't think it's going to take too long out here to let it cool down to about 100, 120 degrees. And vinegar will neutralize this, so if you wanted to be extra cautious, you could have some vinegar with you while you do this. That way if you do splash any on yourself, you can neutralize it quick. So I was just mixing this for a little while till it became fully incorporated, so there's no more particles or cloudiness to the water. I'm gonna let it cool for just a little bit. Like I said, it is 20 to 30 degrees out here, so I don't think it'll take too long. I'm gonna grab the fat next and bring that out here, and we'll blend that together. Okay, so we have our water and lye. We have our melted tallow. They are both roughly about 100 degrees. And I'm going to mix these together and use an immersion blender that I got specifically for this purpose to mix them. was saying that this is also a good time to add your essential oils if you're going to do that. I infused the tallow with dried herbs, so I'm not going to add anything additional. So this is still too runny, so the longer you mix it, it's going to get thick like pudding. When you drip it, that the drips stay on the top, on the surface, so I'm not quite there yet. I think it could take 5 minutes or more. Just moved inside. It was getting a little cold outside for keeping the mixture a consistent temperature, but if you can see, it's kind of thicker like a pudding now. So at this point we can pour it into our mold. I knew from the beginning that this was not going to make enough to fill this, so what I'm imagining is having a bunch of short stout bars, which is fine. So I'm going to pour it in. I did get some kind of harder chunks. That was because I was outside and it was just too cold and all the surfaces around the edge were getting really firm. So in the future I'll maybe do more of the mixing inside or not on such a cold day. And then I have a bunch of lavender buds that I've dried that I'm going to sprinkle on the top, just because I think that is pretty. And then I'm going to wrap it up and let it slowly dry for 24 hours, at which point I can take it out of the mold and slice it and let it cure for the full about 4 weeks. This smells really good. Even the soap was smelling really great just from the infused tallow. I'm happy that I did that. All right. So here it is in the mold. And I'm going to, I think what I'm going to do is going to make it, the point of this is because you want it to stay warm and really cool off as slow as possible. So I'm going to wrap it, cap it, and then just keep wrapping it that way. And I'll put it in a sunny spot in the house. I'm hoping it didn't get too cold being outside, but there you go. This will, in about a month and a half, be soap. It has been 24 hours since we poured the soap in the mold. So at this point we can break it out and cut it into our bars. Like I said earlier, I knew this wasn't going to fill up the mold. I didn't have enough ingredients to make a full size loaf, but I think if we just cut it into kind of wide bars, it's going to work out just fine. That's pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to put it in this form and then I'll just put it on a wire rack for about 4 weeks before we use it. Clean up these edges. I'm just gonna crinkle cut this outside edge. The first one. So now I'll just leave them open to air like this on a wire rack for 4 or so weeks and then package them up. Probably use some as gifts and then the rest we'll just use in our house.